La for, hit for none. All the time, hit for none. For Islam stand for peace.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Beloved viewers of MTA, you're welcome to another interesting episode of Inspirational Africans. On this show, we bring to you individuals who have excelled in their chosen career path. And for today's episode, let us meet our guest.
Our guest today is Professor Mashhud Adenrele Fashola, a professor of development economics, an esteemed scholar, and a dedicated community leader. Professor Fashola was born on November 29, 1948, in Kumasi, Ghana. A distinguished Nigerian national from Oyo State, he has spent decades contributing to both academia and community development. His educational journey began with primary schooling at Ibadan District School and Yaba Methodist School, followed by secondary education at United Christian Secondary School in Lagos. Professor Fashola earned his Bachelor of Science in Economics with first-class honors from the University of Lagos in 1972. Additionally, he achieved a doctorandus degree from Erasmus University, Rotterdam in 1975. He continued his studies with a postgraduate diploma in computer science from the same institution and completed his PhD in economics in 2011. Professor Fashola's remarkable achievements have been recognized with several prestigious awards, including a federal government scholarship, the Netherlands Government Fellowship, and the Best All-Round Student Award at the University of Lagos. In 2020, he was honored with the Worldwide Chartered Certificate of Achievement by the International Chartered World Learned Society. With a dossier of impressive professional career, Professor Fashola served as a lecturer and senior lecturer at the University of Lagos from 1975 to 2013 and as a guest research fellow at Erasmus University, Rotterdam. His roles also include associate lecturer at Lagos State University and professor of economics and planning at Crown University International Chartered Incorporated since 2019. In addition to his teaching roles, Professor Fashola has held significant administrative positions such as acting head of the Department of Economics at the University of Lagos and has been involved in numerous committees and boards contributing to the academic and administrative framework of his institutions. Beyond academia, Professor Fashola has been deeply involved in social and community services. After joining the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the year 1973 while studying in Netherlands, on his return to Nigeria, he served as a national co-aide of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Youth Organization of Nigeria, was a member of the Majlis Amila, and led the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Nigeria as the head from 2004 to 2019. He also chaired the Nusrat Jahan Board of Nigeria, overseeing Ahmadiyya hospitals and schools. In his spare time, Professor Fashola engages in crop and livestock farming, a testament to his diverse interest and commitment to practical hands-on contributions to society. Stay tuned as we interview Professor Mashhud Adenrele Fashola, a remarkable individual whose contributions to education, community service, and beyond are truly inspiring.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it is Inspirational Africans. Professor Mashhud Adenrele Fashola. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and you're welcome to this show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you very much.
It is a pleasure to meet you indeed. Can you please tell us about your background? Tell us about yourself.
I was born in Kumasi, Ghana, more than 75 years ago. My parents traveled from Ibadan, Nigeria, to Ghana, then to Ivory Coast. I was born in Ghana. And I started my primary education in Ibadan, actually. My parents returned to Nigeria in 1954. I spent my childhood in Ivory Coast. I was registered with Quranic classes at the age of about 4.
Oh.
When we were back to Nigeria in Ibadan, I started my primary education in 1955. Completed it in 1962 in Lagos.
Oh.
I started my secondary education in 1963 to 67 at United Christian Secondary School, Apapa. I had a dream of becoming an engineer, but my parents were so poor they could not afford the costs of education in top colleges. As a matter of fact, I got admission to Ahmadiyya College, Agege, in 1962, one of the best colleges in Lagos there. But their fees was £75 per annum. We could not afford it. So I eventually got admission to a newly established United Christian Secondary School. A secondary school that was established by some Christian groups. But it was a good school because they had Peace Corps from Britain, highly trained, highly educated teachers. So I graduated a commercial school there. So I got my certificates in those days, RSC, that's Royal Society for the Economy of Arts. And then I got my intermediate accounting, RSC, first class. Advanced bookkeeping and account of Pitman's, intermediate English language, 100 words per minute in shorthand, and advanced typewriting. In addition to General Certificate of Education, GCE, of the Associated Examining Board of London. I had 8 subjects, virtually all distinctions. Then I got employment with the newly established Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, late 1967. I worked there briefly, then left mid-1968 to University of Lagos as a mathematical stenographer. I worked with people like Professor Chikobi, Professor Oje Fawimi in the Faculty of Science, Department of Mathematics and Computer Center. So I used 1 year to get my advanced level, GC Cambridge advanced level, in subjects like mathematics, accounting, and business studies. So I got admission to University of Lagos, 1969-70, to read economics. Professor Chikobi was thinking that I would read mathematics. I told him I've worked with mathematics department, and the mathematics is extremely abstract. But I found interesting applications of mathematics in economics. But I was typing also for Professor Latif Farm, the professor of international trade, and I saw a lot of integral in his manuscript. I said, okay, I would rather study economics, where mathematics has interesting applications. So I ended up with mathematical economics specialization with econometrics and statistics. So I graduated in 1972, June, with first class honors in economics.
First time.
Then, because of first class honors in economics, I was sent abroad on the government of Netherlands fellowship to study in the Netherlands School of Economics, Erasmus University, Rotterdam, Center for Demand Planning and Programming. I spent about 3 years there to obtain my doctorandus in economics. Came back to Nigeria as a lecturer and was assigned to teaching postgraduate studies from that time onwards. I would remark that my having first class honor in economics was not due to my hard work, but due to the grace of Allah, because I was busy debating religious questions, fighting Christians, but those who study hard will bring their problems to me. And they know that by grace of Allah, I was very brilliant. I was solved problems for them, and that was also training me. So, as a result, I made virtually decisions on all the subjects.
I was just about asking that, despite all this, profile, then the question begs, why did you choose this career path to be a lecturer? I'm very sure there are going to be a lot of job offers for somebody who is as brilliant as you are. So why did you choose this career path?
You are perfectly right. Because in that year, nobody had first class honors for the 7 years before. So I got an appointment immediately with the Federal Ministry of National Planning. And my office was in the Independence Building. They come and pick me up with their vehicle at the Hall 3 hostel. But the best paid job then was lecturer.
Oh.
They were much better paid than any group. Yeah. And so the university called me to come on for postgraduate studies in the Netherlands. And so I resigned my appointment as a planning officer grade 2 from Ministry of National Planning.
Okay.
So I went abroad. I came back as a lecturer. And that's how, but my choosing economics was actually a destiny of God. That's what but I did not regret it. But eventually, I became a professor of development economics. But I think that subject was fantastic. Yes, it could address all problems. So engineering is like a micro subject. Development economics is a macro, general, global subject. And I've learned a lot from the Netherlands. Eventually, people were discriminating against me because I got my doctoral study from the Netherlands. So I had to do a PhD, again, in economics.
Oh.
So I had Dr. Randall had PhD in economics.
What are the key factors that contributed to your career growth and development?
I would say it's God's grace, because by nature, I was academically oriented. I love inquisitiveness. I love to debate. I love to ask questions. Number two, I was also disposed to telling truth and being very honest. I cannot condone falsehood. And then by nature too, I was hardworking. I lived with an uncle that made me work so hard. Okay, it's like I suffered during my school days, but it actually trained me to be hardworking and strong. So, in addition, I'm prayerful, extremely prayerful. From my childhood, I'm noted for being very prayerful. Okay, so those things add to my success. When I told some members of the Jamaat, not Ahmadiyya Jamaat, I was not born an Ahmadi, in the mosque, I told them I was praying for my exam. The committee members, the Alpha said, look, don't forget it, you have succeeded. We are not seeing any young man like you who is always content in the mosque. So they said, don't worry, you make excellent, and I had actually excellent results, unprecedented results. So I think God made me, but it's up to me to sustain that blessing of God. Those are the factors that work for my progress.
So in summary, we can say possibly that you were religious, you were hardworking, and you had to live with somebody who was ready to ensure that you work all your fingers to the bone and to achieve the success you've achieved. Then it is certain that for every journey in life, we have ups and downs. What are these challenges?
During my secondary school days, I actually suffered a lot. I was telling God that if I don't die, if I do not die, I will thank God. I would trek from Apapa Road to Java Methodist as a primary school child. Sometimes I would trek from High Road to Apapa. I would now go to Oyibo Market to fetch firewood and carry it on my head from Okubaba to Apapa Road. Before I reached half of the journey, my neck was sunk already. I have to split the firewood. We use gas, we use kerosene, we use firewood. Sometimes I will not eat until 12 noon. So all these sufferings actually toughened me. And all this time that I go will surprise me, because when they say, okay, open my race, in my secondary school, I was number 1 miler. Nobody beats me. In those days, 440, 80, and 1 mile. And I know suffering actually expanded my strength. In the university, I faced persecution because of I accepted Ahmadiyya Jamaat in the Netherlands during my postgraduate studies in 1973 from the hand of third Khalifa, Hazrat Nasr Ahmad. May Allah have mercy on him.
Amen.
Yeah. So when I now go back to Nigeria, they know I'm an Ahmadi. I had persecution from non-Ahmadi Muslims. I had persecution from Christians who saw me like a kind of Taliban, because they say I'm always wearing cap and keeping beard. I also passed persecution from university cults, because I belong to none of them. Then there are also ethnic persecution. The university was dominated by some ethnic groups, Ijesha, Ekiti, Ijebu, Igbo, and from a minority group, Ibadan, Oyo State. So persecution was also. Then a more important persecution was my stance to stand on justice, to oppose immorality. I had to fight for many students who were being victimized. And I went through hell, but at the end of the day, I prevailed. I prevailed against all of them through prayers. There was a time, eventually I became a head of department, acting head of department. But I was not yet just a professor, but as a senior lecturer, I was appointed acting head of department. And I was trying to help students to not to break a deadline. They gave a deadline for submission of some documents. And I extended the deadline by just 1 day. Because of the advice I gave, they went and reported me to the dean that I violated the deadline given by the university. So the dean summoned me, and I was talking to Robbie Nurse, Maliki Nurse, Leah Nurse. I told God, you are Maliki Nurse. You are the Lord of supreme authority. Maliki Nurse. When I got to the dean, rather for the dean to castigate me, he said, okay, we thought that deadline was too short. I think we should extend it. Rather than castigate me, the dean actually welcomed my initiative of extending by just a day. That they think I will be punished for extending deadline by 1 day. So most of the time, I prevailed.
How are you able to combine these religious activities? Because as an Ahmadi, there is no room for laziness. And your career, because we all know that it is going to be tough, especially for somebody who is very useful to the society.
Yes, as I was saying,
Yes.
apart from prayer, I was noted for strict discipline, moral discipline, spiritual discipline. So they could not find anything to implicate me. Now, as combining my religious activities with my career is a tough challenge. I could meet some reasonable demands of my career, but not substantial demands. For instance, I had to jettison a lot of appointments that was offered to me in Nigeria and abroad, which required me to take leave of absence from the university. I could not because I was like deputy imam, vice president for Shomolu Jamaat. I was national Qoi, that's Sadr Mashhud Adenrele National, for 4 years. I was always a member of Majlis Amila, National Executive Committee. Then I became Amir for 15 years. So I could not abandon these responsibilities for my career. I got appointed from abroad to go elsewhere, but I could not go. Once I go, then my responsibility in the Jamaat will fail. I could not. But I was happy that I sacrificed worldly ambition for spiritual and moral development.
I think that answers the next question I was about asking you, which is, of what value has all this sacrifice you've made for the Jamaat and your activities doing, for this, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how has it, helped you? What are the gain that you've picked out? But I think you've answered the question. You've said it has developed you spiritually and morally. Except if there is any other thing you want to add.
Yes, I will add, at the time that I was being persecuted, many of my students have become professors. And I will remain a senior lecturer, but they refuse to promote me. Even when I meet vice chancellor, they will say, my teacher. I meet registrar, I say, my teacher. Gradually, many people became professors, but I remain senior lecturer. Then in a vision, I saw the fourth Khalifa, Rahimullah, sitting as head of department, chairman of department. One of those persecuting me was appealing to Uzu, look, let us promote Dr. Fashola. It's very strange. Those who are black, those who are stopping my way, putting obstacles in my way, in the dream were pleading with the Uzu to let them promote me. That was strange. Uzu did not answer them in that vision. Uzu came to my back, bent forward and kissed my forehead. Then my daughter had a vision that Uzu gave me appointments. And eventually, I became Amir. So I know that Allah preserved me for that position. Because if I had become a professor, they would have given some political appointments, which would have wrecked me. Some of those who became professors earlier than me, they were destroyed by political appointments. They didn't make it. So it appears God protected me from worldly promotion for spiritual progress. And I got a lot of spiritual advantage, spiritual moral development, with my attachment with the Jamaat. And that I see worldly achievement as nothing. And I understand the advised the plea that you should sacrifice worldly ambitions for religious. I put precedence for religion over worldly achievement. So, but my achievement, academically, professionally, I was distinguished morally in terms of service to students. Somebody saw a colleague in his workplace and asked about Dr. Fashola. He said, Dr. Fashola is the only one that is sane in the department. I got a lot of best awards, best lecturer, from undergraduates, from postgraduates. So the moral discipline has actually elevated me, morally and spiritually. So I don't care about this promotion because I know that those who promote themselves, some of them belong to cults. I don't belong to cults. And I will not participate in corruption, financially or immorally. My being morally upright, by Allah's grace, has helped my children a lot all over the place. There was a case of one student, one of the leaders in the bank, and they was trying to get a customer in South Africa. They sent all their bank executives, they could not get it. They now sent my son to that man in South Africa to go and plead with him to patronize the bank. And he introduced himself as Mahmoud Fashola. I said, which Fashola? He said, he was my student. He was my teacher. Because of that, I'm giving you that appointment. And gave the bank got that contract. And that's why my son was elevated. So it has happened all over the place that my children got access to top people who came to be my teacher. But I retired University of Lagos in 2013 as a senior lecturer. And before that, people have offered to make me professor elsewhere. I said, no, I don't want to leave University of Lagos. But when I left, I served as lecturer, contract appointment, Lagos State University. I served before at ASCON, Administrative College of Nigeria. Then later on, Crown International College offered me professorship in development economics. Okay. But they have campuses all over the world. I've given appointments in India and Latin America. At the end of the day, I said I don't want to go outside Nigeria. I have my reasons spiritually. My family wanted me to go out and take appointments abroad. I said, if I leave, I'm afraid what will happen to my family, my children. Okay? Whatever I earn this world is for this world. And I remember Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was concerned for his children and offspring as well. So I said, I would rather stay with my family and make them highly attached to Islam and Ahmadiyya, rather than say I'm looking for money abroad. So I was operating virtually online. So, but I don't regret the persecution I faced in my career, because I know that if you want to attach yourself to God, you have to face persecution. And all prophets face persecution. So I take that as sacrifice for wanting to develop morally and spiritually. I didn't take it as a problem. Okay.
Beloved viewers of MTA, if you are just joining us, this is Inspirational Africans, and we have as our guest Professor Mashhud Adenrele Fashola. Professor Fashola, what is your connection? What is your connection with the Khalifa? What kind of relationship can you describe yourself having with the Khalifa, either the past or the present Khalifa?
I owe the whole of my life to Khilafat Ahmadiyya. I would have been nothing without Khilafat Ahmadiyya. From second Khalifa, who actually got me introduced to Ahmadiyya, because I read his books. Introduction to Ahmadiyya, The Life of Muhammad, the Tafsir Quran. When I was reading Life of Muhammad, of second Khalifa, I was shedding tears. Yeah. And then introduced to Ahmadiyya, he made clear many things. He actually introduced me to Promise Messiah Islam. Then as for I didn't meet second Khalifa, but I met third Khalifa directly. I signed Bayat directly in 1973 in the Netherlands. He was a great person, loving. He looked me straight in the eyes with love. After signing Bayat, I had certain visions. Then come to fourth Khalifa. In fact, I look at fourth Khalifa like a prophet of God. When I pray behind him, I shed tears. Okay? And he's a loving person. And during the time he came to Nigeria, I was national poet, and I used to have very clear visions throughout the period. For the sake of time, now I came to the fifth Khalifa, a man full of love. Okay? It was in this period I became Amir. He loved me a lot. In fact, all the communication that I sent to him in reply was full of love. And all these Khalifa that I put behind them, when they recite Surah Al-Fatiha and shed tears, they recite with a lot of solemnity, with a lot of humility. He came to Nigeria during the Khilafat Jubilee in 2008. He actually traveled with us by road from Lagos to Abuja. You cannot imagine. The rough road, his love is tremendous. And I had a third wife at that time who had a child 80 years ago. And the doctor said you cannot have a child anymore because she was well over 40. But he told Uzur that, look, I want a child. Uzur prayed for her. Okay? And we didn't even know. One missionary just said he saw a vision that my wife is pregnant. She didn't even know that I was pregnant. That in fact, he got a name for that child, Hibat Rahman. We didn't even know that she was pregnant. But Uzur prayed for her. Okay? And their prayers are always wonderful. She had a baby. People not believe that it was possible. That's why I said, okay, your husband is old, though, getting to 70 years old. It's not possible to have a baby, but had a baby. And baby was a tough baby, very brilliant. And this cannot be a child of an old man. So I can see the sentence of prayer from a Khalifa. They are men of God. For me, is the extension of Prophet Mashhud Salam. But the Holy Prophet Muhammad said, when the Khalifa will come, when the Messiah will come, it's going to be a Rajulu or Rijalu. It's going to be a man or men. So I take them to be extension of the Messiah. In fact, with all these people, in my non-Ahmadi circle, I will be lost. What we practice was not son of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. I used to ask the Jamaat in London, look, what can I write on Turu? What can I write on the planks that I can wash and drink? Say, that's not son of the Holy Prophet. All those terrible practices, I don't need, it was not son of the Holy Prophet. In fact, the prayers of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, I learned from my dear Jamaat, their prayer of the Holy Prophet. The way we pray with also, all those prayers before were not prayers. Since I started practicing Islam as right by Ahmadiyya Jamaat, I saw difference in my life. Yes, I saw tremendous difference in my life. I got communications by inspiration. And I do tell people that if you are a true Ahmadiyya guarantee you paradise. I can see that. Because Ahmadiyya Khilafat, the Prophet Islam Khilafat is a great blessing to mankind, to humanity. And I used to tell Ahmadiyya Jamaat members that, look, keep strictly to Nizam Ahmadiyya. You get paradise from this world before you die. In one dream, I was asking myself, who is the greatest man in the world? I said, is it the president of the United States? My man said, no, it's not the president of the United States. It's Khalifa Ahmadiyya. And I believe truly, the greatest man on earth is Khalifa Ahmadiyya. May God continue to bless them. I do pray every day for Khalifa. It's a blessing. And may God continue to preserve our Khalifa us with sound health, with perfect light and guidance. And may God support him with good companions.
It is indeed an emotional and spiritual conversation with Professor Mashhud Adenrele Fashola. Professor Fashola, what advice would you give to parents who are yearning that their kids become somebody great like you? And to aspiring youths, like people like me seated in front of you, who are in the line of your chosen career path?
Thank you very much indeed. First of all, I benefited a lot from my parents who are disciplinarians. We don't smoke, we don't drink. We are made to work hard and be respectful and be humble. But they have exemplary conduct. So the first advice to parents that they must have excellent examples for their children. They must not be harsh. My father had excellent example. But my father will not punish us, but we fear him. If ourselves want to punish us, he will use his hand and like that. So, like the Holy Prophet of Islam, such parents don't punish children, but their example make the children love and respect them, and they fear the castigation from the mouth, from the words of mouth. As for youths, they have to keep strictly to honesty, truthfulness. Because if you believe in fraud, you cannot get far away. But Allah says He will never support fraudulent people. Prayer, hard work, and honesty, truthfulness. Allah will bless the youth that keep straight to it. The youth must be trusted. Don't believe you can have shortcut. Go. No, Allah will not allow it. Waman lizalimina min ansar. Allah will never give assistance to evil people, wrongdoers. Youths should appreciate those who do good to them, even if they are gentle and kind-hearted. They should not take them for granted. This man is gentle, I can do anything. No, don't do anything to anybody like your parents or relations or friends that are gentle and kind-hearted to you. Appreciate what they are doing. Don't take them for granted. Otherwise, you will regret it. But men of God are normally gentle, kind-hearted, but don't take them for granted.
Men of God are generally gentle, but do not take their gentility for a ride. These are the words of Professor Mashhud Adenrele Fashola. It is indeed an interesting session and highly spiritual one for that matter. I'm sure you will agree with me that it is a spiritually oriented session. We would like to take this opportunity to say Jazakumullah khairan to our beloved Prof, Professor Mashhud Adenrele Fashola, for honoring us and giving us some of the highlights about how he rose to this level of his career. Jazakumullah khairan.
You're welcome.
We hope when we call on you another time, you will be gracious to grant us this very interesting section once again. Jazakumullah khairan, and may Almighty Allah continue to be your guide and guide. And to our viewers, this is where we draw the curtain of today's episode of Inspirational Africans. My name is Shoyoye Idris. For feedback, inquiries, or queries, kindly reach out to us, africa@mta.tv, africa@mta.tv. Till another time we come your way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
La for, hetefonam, alata. La for, hetefonam, for Islam stand for peace.